He wakes up in a stone chamber, the air heavy with the stench of sweat, fear, and olive oil. The walls are cold against his skin. Laughter echoes from above, mocking, cruel, and familiar. At 15, the shackle around his ankle has rubbed his skin raw. He has stopped counting the years since they brought him here. The door scrapes open, and sunlight floods the room. The overseer's silhouette looms in the frame, a towering figure of scars and muscle. "Clean yourself," he growls. "The master has guests tonight." The boy knows what that means. Years ago, his family sold him to settle their debts. The only currency they had left was his life. In ancient Greece, this was common. Behind the gleaming marble and lofty talk of democracy, a world thrived on human suffering. They say Greece was the cradle of philosophy, art, and politics. But that brilliance rested on the backs of the enslaved. Boys like him, bodies like his. In the villages, a drought or failed harvest could ruin a family. When creditors came, they demanded payment in flesh. Slave traders swooped in like vultures, weighing, measuring, and pricing children as if they were livestock. He still recalls his father's trembling hands, counting silver, his mother turning away as a merchant pried open his mouth to inspect his teeth. They said it was temporary. They lied. The march to Athens was a nightmare. Dozens of boys chained together by iron and despair. Some cried for their mothers until their voices gave out. Others learned silence. At night, they staked him to the ground like an animal, waiting for dawn. At the market, they oiled and scrubbed him, making him shine like merchandise. Bidders examined his body. A man named Lysander bought him. His house stood grand with marble columns and painted God's beauty built on blood. They trained him to serve food, pour wine, and, later, to entertain. The Greeks called it a symposium. History paints it as a gathering of brilliant minds, Socrates, philosophers, poets, but in truth, it was often a stage for cruelty. Wine flowed, debates turned to indulgence, and slaves like him became playthings for powerful men. The same thinkers who preached virtue and justice violated children between their speeches on morality. Civilization and savagery walked hand in hand. He learned to survive, to obey before being told, to vanish in plain sight. Resistance brought pain. Compliance earned small mercies. He forgot his name. He spoke their language. He became what they wanted, a silent reflection of their power. Years slipped by. He was no longer a person, just a possession. The overseers said good slaves don't think, they adapt. And he did. Until one day, at the market, he saw a new boy who looked just like he once did, terrified, trembling, still human. For the first time in years, something stirred inside him. Not hope, exactly, just remembrance. The life they stole still mattered. He hid that thought like a secret flame. When his youth faded, they sent him to the mines, a place where slaves went to die. The air choked with dust, tunnels collapsed, and bodies were discarded like broken tools. But even there, in the darkness, people resisted. They shared stories of home, whispered names of the dead, and built a small, defiant history that refused to fade. He died there, his lungs shredded by stone dust. But his story didn't. It lived on in the whispers of those who survived. And here's the truth that history buries. The Greece that gave us democracy and philosophy was built on systematic cruelty. Their greatness was paid for in human lives. The same pattern repeats today. Different tools, same logic. Children still vanish into systems that feed our comfort. We debate ethics while buying goods made by exploited hands. Corporations create addiction while funding studies on mental health. Technology built to connect us destroys young lives for profit. We call it progress. They called it civilization. It's the same illusion. The men who once justified slavery with philosophy have modern descendants, people who rationalize exploitation with economics, technology, or politics. The cruelty has evolved, not disappeared. The marble halls are now glass towers. The symposiums are boardrooms and servers. The slaves wear new faces. Only the tools have changed. The cruelty never did.